Good afternoon, beautiful beings of light. Welcome to the Wisdom Circle. Today we have Terri Suzuki in charge, but we're here with SunPsychic Z. We're having trouble streaming to Facebook all of a sudden. Okay. Anyway, SunPsychic Jean, Heather, Terry Lee, and Wisdom Seeker Joan, thank you all for being here. We sure appreciate it. I have no idea what this means, you guys.
Uh-oh.
Cancel. I don't know what happened. Anyway, the wonders of computers. So, just to get started, anybody that hasn't been here before, my name's Priscilla, and I'm the co-host with Heather of the Chromosome. And once a month, we do the Wisdom Circle with these lovely ladies. And our goal is to share, support, and validate each other, as well as others who are following a spiritual path. We're here to share and discuss theories, experiences, information, and perspectives from different backgrounds and points of view. We hope to make you laugh, to feel included, and maybe gain some insight or perspective on whatever is happening to you on your journey. Our individual paths are unique. No two of us are the same. So please take what resonates and leave the rest. And remember, this is for entertainment and spiritual purposes only. Today, we're going to talk about the imagination portal. So I am going to turn it over to Terri Suzuki for that. And just let you know, everybody's information is in the description of each of our Wisdom Circle videos. And it also has a date of who's going to do what when. So I hope that helps. Terri Suzuki, take it away.
Okay. Hi,
And if
everybody.
you want to say hi to everybody.
Well, so I get the pleasure today of talking about the imagination portal. And I'm just going to pop up my slides here.
You guys are surrounded by the crones.
Yeah.
We're surrounded by what?
The crones.
The crones.
Absolutely.
Ah. Yep. Oh, Gerald's here too. Hey, Gerald. And Starfish. So today, when I'm talking about the imagination portal, I want to also let people know this is just my ideas. Okay. This is not the way that everybody has to do it. It's not the only information. It's just what I understand right now. So with the imagination portal, it is kind of what I feel, how psychics and mediums do what they do. So it's how and kind of where we go to access the other side. So before we even get completely into it, I want to talk about one of the biggest stumbling blocks that people find when they're trying to learn new spiritual practices or become a psychic or a medium. And that actually is the imagination. A lot of people, as they're starting to kind of learn how to use their gifts, they often think they're just making it up. Or even when you were a little kid, maybe you were told you're making that up, And the thing is that the imagination is where this kind of all happens. My teacher, Susan Lynn, who's the teacher of quite a lot of our panel, one time I was in one of her classes, and the first thing somebody brought up, but I just think I'm making it up. And she said, I think was one of the most brilliant things. She said, go ahead, make it up. She said, I guarantee that spirit will step in. You cannot actually make it all up. So in other words, what she was saying is you'd only probably get as far as once upon a time, and then spirit would just take over. Mm-hmm. So if that you are worried at all about that you're just making it up or this is in your imagination, it is in your imagination, because that's where we have to work. So there's a couple other things going on in this portal. So first of all, the portal is kind of the place where we agree to suspend our disbelief. And actually, I'm going to jump down to the bottom of the slide. This is something that actually you're very used to doing, suspending your disbelief. It's like when you go to the movies and you go to a really good movie. You know how after a while you forget you're where you're at, you're like in the movie. You're believing everything. You're not saying, oh, that is ridiculous. That would never happen. You're there, you're like another bit player in it. That is the imagination portal where you have gone to suspend your disbelief. You have agreed to believe what's happening in that movie or an engaging book. The imagination portal is a place of unlimited knowledge. It's access to knowledge and information beyond our average reach. In fact, I just want to just say beyond our reach, because it's a place that we go where we just have access to so much. Does anyone want to say anything here at this point?
Well, I love the analogy of the watching a movie and getting so involved in a movie or a book, even more so for me, a book.
Yeah, me
And
too.
being transported away. And that's a great analogy for people that think they don't have any imagination, because we can all get into a good movie or a book and
Right.
and go there.
Right.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah. So this is for me, I find that there are 3 essential things that we need when entering the portal. First of all, we need the courage to believe in the full possibilities of spirit. So a lot of times I say this in a different way by saying, don't put God in a box. So you have to, but in order to do that, you have to also have courage. You have to have courage that your input into the imagination portal and what you're going to extract from it is your right. It's part of your birthright to go there. It's part of your birthright to know these things. So you have to have a little bit of courage that what you're going to see, what you're going to experience is going to be just fine. You have to trust. So this is, I think we could talk about trust in about every thing a psychic medium does, because you have to trust that what spirit gives you is correct. So if spirit shows you something, or you hear something, you feel something, you experience some sort of emotion, that you have to trust that that's coming from spirit, and it's not just something you're making. And that can be one of the hardest things. And then the last thing that we really need to bring to this is curiosity. So this can be equally as hard, because curiosity means that when spirit shows me something, I have to draw closer to it. I have to say, hey, what's that? Or tell me more about that. Not draw back and say, oh, I'm uncomfortable with that. We have to get curious to find out what is spirit showing us. And I'm just going to pause here a second, because I just noticed in the chat, like Terri said, she gets lost in music. That is part of this imagination portal that you're going into every day in very small ways.
Here's a couple of others I can show as well.
Go ahead.
White Dragon says, I call it the one flew over the cuckoo's nest portal because it's so out there. I know I'm crazy. We've all been there. And hypnicity. I think I'm developing a new Claire. I'm seeing white or dark energies around some people. Is there a name for that? Can anyone help me understand? Oh, we're not doing questions today, hypnicity, but still, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Okay.
You might be seeing auras around people.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So where is it? Where is the imagination portal? Because so this is something I've kind of recently learned. It's all around us. It's all, I mean, it's actually physically very close to you. It's all around you. It is part of the Akashic field. And the Akashic field has many, many layers. It's not just the Akashic records. I have heard, and I don't know all of the layers, but I've heard there's up to 12 different layers of the Akashic field. So when we are reading as psychic mediums, we are actually in the Akashic field. We're not in the records per se, but we're in the field where we have access to part of them, access to a lot of knowledge. Some people, when I did research, also call this the quantum field. So the quantum field is somewhat more understandable because quantum includes the Akashic, it includes healing, it includes information for all time and all purpose. It is not somewhere far away. It's right with you.
All around us.
Yeah, it's some people go as far as to say it's in our DNA. I don't know about that, but I do know that it's right here. When people talk about the veil, part of me always thinks of this veil as small, but it could be a mile thick for all intents and purposes. But the reality is the veil is very, very thin, and it's because it's right here with us all the time. It's not up in heaven. It's not somewhere else. It's with us. It's right here. So, so how do we go there? So I think there's lots and lots and lots of ways to go there, but I thought I would just try to find the most simplistic way of getting there that most people could get. So the first thing is to connect. Make a solid connection to spirit, however you do that. If you meditate or you pray, if you put yourself in a bubble of white light, if you do other protections, find a way to make a solid connection to spirit. And go ahead and put yourself in protection or do some grounding so that you feel really comfortable. And then the next step is to believe. You're going to agree to believe. You're going to agree to, suspend your disbelief and believe whatever you see. You're going to have courage. You got to be brave and unafraid of what spirit might present you. I find that this can be a hard part for people because sometimes when I'm reading and I'm waiting, I might be in a very black area. And for some reason, humans are really afraid of the color black. It's got to be evil. It's got to be bad. But it's not. There's no connection to spirituality or evilness or just because of color. Colors are just a color. And so you need to have courage to be there and be unafraid of the ideas that are being presented. And you have to trust what you're given. In other words, that spirit is giving you something to share. You will have to work with spirit for a while to figure out how to do that. Like, for instance, I'm clairvoyant. So spirit's going to give me a picture or like a little movie of something. And then I have to learn how to kind of translate it. And so that goes hand in hand with be curious. I have to be, so maybe spirit shows me something. I have to draw closer, and take a look at it. I have to know that what they gave me meant something. In other words, if I see a little box, let's say a box with a ribbon, like it's a little gift, I can't say, oh, that's so cliche. That's ridiculous. I have to say, oh, there's a box. It looks like a gift. Huh, I wonder who can open this. You draw closer instead of going far away. Okay, so this is where I need all of your help. So once you get into the imagination portal, you're all grounded, you're all prayed in, you're going into the portal. What might you experience? And this is why having a whole circle of us is important, because while I'm clairvoyant and claircognizant, some of you are clairaudient or clairascension. So we're not always going to see things. We might hear things. We might experience things differently. And that's okay. That's exactly how you want to do it. So I would love to hear some of your experiences when you've gone through the portal. Jean?
Who wants to start?
Looking at you, Jean.
Okay.
I'm trying to pick the favorite one. Sometimes what
Well,
happens
here we go.
is, let me see. Trying to think of one that was, well, I guess one of them was I saw a duck jumping into water, and I saw a lot of other ducklings behind the duck. And I told the person, I said, I think you're like the second or third duck in. And what I was like trying to ask spirit, like, what is this? What does this mean for the querent, the person asking the question? And then it just dawned on me. It was like a big download or a big awakening, like, aha, oh, you have all your ducks in a row, that she's on her path, that she's going in the right direction, that everything is going as planned. And you just never know. But there's been so many bizarre things, I can't even think of one right now. But there's another one. There was a dog that came to me, and he was like in a cartoon type of a image, and he had like glasses on, and he was smoking, and he was very sophisticated. And here it was a spirit guide in disguise, like, because he was trying to be playful and trying to get me interested and bring me in closer. Oh, what does this dog have to say? And then the dog had this profound message from the universe for humanity, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was no dog, that was a spirit guide. Like, you just never know. So it's important to trust and to let go of any parameters that are here on earth.
Yeah, I find that if I once get started, the longer I talk, the more items I come up with. Because once you get started, if you don't stop, you just keep coming up with more stuff. You don't know where it's coming from, but it's there.
Mhm.
When it comes to me, I'm clairaudient, so to me, it's just telepathy from whoever. I don't see anything in particular. I feel it, or I know it, or I hear it. So I'm completely different. I don't get these visions of dogs or anything like that. It's just totally beyond me. Mine is, I can smell. I sometimes smell things like my father's cigarettes and coffee. I know he's around whenever I smell cigarettes and coffee. So I seem to have the other clairs, but not the clairvoyance. But
Yeah, I'm like you.
mainly it's just pure telepathy. They tell me exactly what, and it makes it easy for me to tell you what they say because I just repeat it verbatim.
Mhm.
I don't try to figure out a message.
Right.
I had a good example just the other day. when Terri and Jean and I were reading. And I think, Terri, when you were talking about being trusting and being brave to say what you see, I relate it to that, like, remember Homeland Security after 9/11 said, if you see something, say something. I think that's the rule for psychics too. If you see something, say something, no matter how bizarre it is.
Love that.
And I think that's the way my guides play with me, because, and I think it's instructive for me and maybe from other people too, because I can't make this stuff up. And that's literal, because I can't do guided meditations because I can't, my own Earth Jones imagination, I can't visualize walking down the field or any of those things in just a regular meditation. But when I sit down and read, the weirdest stuff shows up. And the last one, when we were reading together, remember I was reading for Rishi and I saw this man on a bicycle or on a unicycle going down a path with a jack-in-the-box. And somehow that all made sense. And it's like, no, I literally could not have made that up. So in that way, almost the weirder it is, the more I trust that that's really not me, because I'm just not that creative.
I agree.
And yeah. But it's kind of fun and sometimes they'll make up just stuff like that, or sometimes they'll pull from my file cabinet of, I've worked in a lot of different industries, and they'll show me something from one of them. Lots of times it might be artwork, because I used to work in a couple museums, and the one time I missed it. It was this bizarre painting, and I was trying to describe what it looked like and everything, but it was just really weird. And after the show, I realized it was by a surrealist artist, and I looked it up, and it's like, oh, they were just saying whatever circumstance it was really surreal. It can feel unworldly to you, but I wasn't able to make the connection on the spot. So it's quite a game. It's quite a juggling game.
It is.
Well, let me see if I can pull this off. I have no imagination at all. This is a piece of artwork I created when I was a photographer, and I took a picture of this lovely cow and her calf, but it was in a desert field. And I almost passed it by, and then I thought, where would I like them to be? Where would they like to be? And that's where I put them. And this photo is called Cow Zen.
That's amazing.
Cool.
How
I just
beautiful.
wanted to bring that point up, because I think it's so beautiful, Terri, that you mention that, we have to break through that conditioning. Remember when you were a child and the outrageous things you used to draw, or the little songs that you used to make up? I mean, how much they meant to you to be able to express something that came out of you. And I think that is part of what we have to use as psychic mediums, and realize and remember, even though sometimes we're reading for someone, who has lost someone very dear to them, that it is playful. We have to be playful with it, because they are on the other side. They're okay. And they're going to show you something that means something to that other person, or that perhaps they want to bring forward about their past life, or who they were, or what they did. So you got to be playful with it and let them kind of come in and play. And a couple that come to mind with me, I was reading for a lady about her husband who'd passed. She had children. And right at the end of the reading, I heard him say, don't forget to dance on the road, on the highway of life. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. And I spurted it out, and she went, we used to drive out on country roads, park the car on the road, open up the doors, play the radio, and dance in the road. And
so
who would have ever thought, that you would make that up? Or another lady, I said, it was her grandfather, and he said, I want you to climb a mountain and fly a kite. And I could visually see this beautiful little girl going up the mountain and flying a kite. And I just blurted it out, because we learned, just when it gets to your mouth, say it. And she used to climb mountains with her grandfather and fly a kite from the top of the mountain. So it's that freedom of letting go of the conditioning that we've been given, as you said, Terri, through society and culture, that, oh, this is not real, or actually shame people who have beautiful visions and imaginations. We just got to let go of that, because what's really real is soul and spirit and who we are.
I now find myself saying to people when they say, "Oh, I saw this bizarre thing," I'm like, "Tell me more. Tell me more."
I want to know more.
Don't you love it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well,
really,
we really have been programmed not to use our imaginations. I mean,
Yes.
think about when you were a kid all the time. Oh, that's just your imagination. But for thousands of years, we've been programmed like that through religion. And before that, it was in the time of the matriarch. Imagination was all right
Yes.
for
I was gonna
thousands
say
of
it's,
years. Shamans use their imagination. They go to the imagination portal. So it's no wonder that we're all timid about using our imagination.
Yes.
But now we know better. We can let our freak flag fly.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah, and I was thinking it's not just when we were kids. All the time you're growing up, even in high school, they're being told what you can or not imagine. Oh, that's just your imagination, or that answer's
Yeah.
wrong because you don't know how you got it.
Mhm.
Right.
So it's there all the time. Even as an adult, you have other adults telling you that's wrong.
True.
Mhm. Well,
Art and music, absolutely. They keep that out of the schools now. That is diabolical.
Yeah.
We need it.
Well, they
Sad. We
put the
do need
fun
it.
right.
there.
Well, Mirella, one of the reasons I brought up about a good movie or a good book is because I think that that's where a lot of creators, artists, musicians go. They go in the
Of course
illumination
they
portal
do.
too. Not illumination, the imagination portal as well. This is something anyone can use.
And
Um,
that's where anybody who is academically smart goes, because the rest of it's not a challenge. But art and music are a challenge for them, and that's where they end up going.
right. Well, it's
They
interesting
have
that
to use their imagination.
yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that because I think even science and all of that comes from there too. I remember working on my master's degree, and I'd have some hard problem I just could not solve. And before I go to bed, I'm like, okay, right side of the brain, because that's the non-talking side, the artistic side. You work on this, I'm going to go to sleep. And in the morning, it would have delivered the answer to the problem to the left side.
Love
Right.
that.
And I would go to class, and it was in it was one of the classes, statistics, and I had gone over the same thing. I don't know how many times, and it didn't make sense to me. But I put on classical music while I was trying to study, and all of a sudden, on the drive up, oh, that's what it meant.
Uh-huh. Yes.
I
love that.
it's such an amazing process, and the other thing is that we haven't talked about is the fact that these things that we are shown are experiences in the imagination portal, no matter how we experience it, because I hope everybody's getting the idea. You don't have to be clairvoyant. All of the clairs work over there. They are multi-layered as well, very layered. For instance, Jean and I book each other all the time. And I don't know if Jean wants to tell this story, but sometimes we're given interesting transportation. I think that that's because I need to be entertained a little. They're like, to get you out of the monkey mind, we're going to have to entertain
It's
you.
not just you, Terry. I get strange when I'm with Jean too. I'm going to blame it on Jean.
Oh, anyway, no, Jean helps me so much over there because one time we were going. They were going to go. We were going to bounce out of where we were, and they literally gave us music notes to stand on and to hold on to the note and bounced us out of there. And
How fun.
we're just
That's
kind of
cool.
a thought that we're bouncing through time and space. And wasn't it Eugene that's like, Terry? He always whispers to me, Terry, it's vibration.
Frequency.
It's
Yeah.
frequency. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh,
We're on a new frequency. I said,
Yes.
this is why this is this is what they're trying to tell us, because it's almost too good to like say out loud, and we're in the experience, we're holding on. It's so real, you guys. This imagination portal is so real. We are experiencing holding on to that note and jumping that frequency and bouncing in that frequency and vibration. And I'm like, I didn't want to stop it. I didn't want to interrupt it. I'm like, we're
love it.
actually on a new frequency. It's so good.
I love traveling, astral traveling with Jean, doing our thing, because there's always a stage whisper. E.T.
That's at the sweet spot. But everybody has this sweet spot. Everybody has this access. We all carry it within us, and it's accessible to all of us. It's just practicing and training our analytical mind just to relax and to step aside while we go on this imagination. But it's just so fulfilling, so real, and so informative. Isn't it, Terri?
It is. It is. I learned something new. So that's where I'm trying, that the layeredness is usually after you've been there, you have to take a look back and go back there again and take a look at it, because probably they're trying to teach you a boatload of things.
Yeah, those journeys are definitely loaded with information. You have to go back and review.
Yeah.
So when you tape them and can go back and look, you find all kinds of new little tidbits.
Right. Because I'm just entertained that we're bouncing around on a note, like a bouncy ball when you were a kid. That was good enough for me. But now that I go back, I realize, oh my gosh, they were talking about vibration and frequency. They were moving us up so we could hear them better. They were doing, it was a playful way to increase my vibration, increase my ability.
I love that it was music, and the reason is, when I did a past life regression, I went back to the beginning of the universe, and it was music. I was a dot in that sea of vibration, that frequency, and it was music.
Wow.
The universe creates through the music of unconditional love, that frequency. So how cool is that you're bouncing around on notes?
You're blowing my mind on that. Oh my gosh.
And this is also accessible through automatic writing. Automatic writing is accessing the imagination portal as well. We tend to do it with a meditation or a journey, but you can do it on your own by writing a story, but just by starting once upon a time. Or there was a girl named Heather that, and just start making it up. And then at the end of the story, you'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe all that came out of me,
Sometimes just journaling will lead you into that. Just your regular journaling, all of a sudden you'll find you're writing stuff and not knowing where it came from. That's how I started automatic writing years ago.
Yeah.
So we're all capable of it, and it all comes in different ways for different people. And that's the wonderful thing about it, is we each have our own individual method, even though it resonates with others.
One thing that I'm noticing recently is that my clairs are changing. So this will now be interesting to find out when I go into the imagination portal, how are things going to change in regards to that? So what's happening for me right now is I have learned how to read the Akashic records, but when I'm doing that, my claircognizant is number 1 instead of my clairvoyance, which is usually number 1. And so it's changing how I do it. And I think I'm becoming more sensitive to other input.
I'm really happy you said that, because my information comes from so many different ways. It could be through the music. I can see it. Once in a while I can see stuff. I know it, or I hear it. but I get it from all the different areas.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes one area, sometimes another, sometimes several. So I'm glad you said that because I feel
Yeah.
good about it now.
Yeah. I'm it's very interesting, and I'm trying to get used to it a little bit more. I would love to know more about clairaudience, because I'm claircognizant. How does spirit play with you in the imagination portal? How do they draw you in? How do they?
Are you
I just-
asking somebody in
just feel it.
particular?
Yeah,
That's
probably
great.
Terri Lee. I'm probably asking Terri Lee.
Oh,
Because they'll repeat something in my head, and until I will say it, or they'll repeat the same piece of music until I write it down. It's just, if I don't get it first time, I'm going to get it next time because they just keep repeating until I get it down or whatever. So,
or speak or whatever.
Yeah.
I've got a journal it's actually music staffs because I constantly am writing down something they play it in my head. And I have a big one that, I guess it's about 10 pages. This one guy just kept giving me more variations of the same stuff. But it was 10 pages of it just kept going.
Wow.
Musical dictation. Oh, wonderful then.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
I heard a psychic medium describe how we get information from not souls, but from the imagination portal, from our guides. I thought it was a great description. And she said it's like you have to be open to allowing something to come inside you and then speak forward. So it's almost, and I avoid the word possession because we don't want to talk about that because that's not what it is. But it's being willing to be open and not to be afraid of getting anything wrong. That's another thing we were conditioned, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Our whole lives, don't get it wrong. Oh my God, God forbid that you say anything wrong. So just that love of the experience, that love of the creator and the guides and the angels and all of those who want to play. I think that's how it all can really flow through you if you're open to that, and perhaps even start with meditating on that, or looking at a candle and thinking about that, or writing in a book and thinking about that. Start with that love that is coming from the creator all the time through eternity, through all of our lives. Wow. Right. I think that was a good description.
That is great. Okay, ladies.
To allow and not
yeah.
judge. Amen.
Right. Don't put up any kind of barriers.
As soon as I think something's not right, that I'm wrong about this is too stupid, I know that's exactly what it is. It's right.
Sometimes, like when we were first kind of starting this, and they would show me something ridiculous as something like, just like, really? Are you showing me that? Really, I'm seeing a cartoon bunny. And there, that's when I also know I have to like pay more attention, take a look at it. Yes, they're showing me a cartoon bunny. Now, what does it mean? Yeah, it's just always interesting. And, I wrote down a couple things like why that could matter. I mean, so the thing is, yeah, they show me a cartoon bunny. It's a rabbit. But as I drove, what does it really mean? Or is spirit trying? And this is where that you have to trust that you're not going to get it wrong, or that, you could get it wrong, and that's fine. But, are they showing me nature? Are they showing me something soft and cuddly? Are they showing me fertility? Are they showing me a spirit animal, the spirit animal of the person I'm reading? Or are they showing me the basically there's the Asian horoscope, the year of the rabbit. Are they showing me the
That's
year of the rabbit, which means balance, calm, resilience, or am I supposed to follow this rabbit? I remember Jean has a story about where she saw something and she just saw it. And then the animal talked to her.
Mhm.
Do you want to tell that one, Jean?
Yeah, it was an owl. I was doing a reading, and an owl came by, and I thought, oh, that must mean wisdom. There's wisdom around you. You're going to be coming into some wisdom. And then the owl was like flying away, and I thought that was it. And then the owl stopped and turned back and said, "Aren't you guys coming? Like, come on, you got to follow me." We followed them into the forest, and there was a surrounding of all these woodland animals. And then these woodland animals turned into
Wow.
galactic council, circled around. And it was like, oh my gosh, they're all here. They're all right here. It blew my mind. I said, if I would have never followed that owl, what could we have missed? Like, it's really important to allow and to follow and to go deeper and to suspend that disbelief, have
Yes.
courage, trust. We all have these abilities, and it's all here. And they're coming in stronger. They're coming in more insistent. They want us all to interact and work in conjunction with this 3D ego, human essence, as well as our spiritual essence. You guys know I say that at every show. It is my biggest shtick. We have to walk in balance. Hmm.
I've got a question. This is pretty. Come on, sure. Whoop, nip, nip, nip. Here we go. How do you make yourself remember, especially at the beginning? I'm not sure I understand what the question is.
We speak
Remember
out
what?
loud and we record everything. We
You
record.
won't remember. When you're channeling, you don't remember a second later. It's not you. It's not you.
Yeah.
It's kind of just being
Information
spoken.
coming through you, and it won't stay in your memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's-
Every time
Af-
it's channeled, I was writing everything down that she said because she would not remember any of it.
Mm.
After so many of our shows where we do live readings, I have to go back and watch and say,
Sure.
"Oh, okay, that's what was said, and that's what was validated, or this is where it went." So, yeah, you do actually, and I've also experienced that with channeled writing. Sometimes I'll write it and then set it down, walk away, have a cup of tea, do a few menial things, and then come back to it and read it fresh, and it's always surprising.
I always
wonder-
think I remember everything. And then I look at a recording and then I'm like, when did I say that?
I know, right?
Yeah.
Or people will
For
say
sure.
something about this reading you've given, and I've got no idea. I
Have
kind
no
of like that because it's a way of maintaining privacy, so you're not walking around with everybody's secrets. But I wanted to jump back to the cartoon rabbit because it was a cartoon. Sometimes the form like that can mean something too. Does that mean it's something that you can actualize? It's still out there in cartoon, not reality land yet. And that's another question to ask too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where you can just see so many layers.
Don't
Mhm.
forget to talk about gifts in the
Gifts.
imagination
Oh,
portal. That is
okay.
an interesting thing that you taught me, was
Right.
asking for gifts and asking certain questions.
Right. So when you're out there in the imagination portal, you can go alone, you can go in meditation, you can do anything. But one of the things that one of my teachers, medium Kim Copeland, when she does a meditation or a prayer, usually near the end of it, she will say, now hold your hands out like this and
Yeah.
ask if they have a gift for you. So you're not demanding a gift or anything like that. You're just asking if they have a gift. And they will use your clairs to give you a gift almost every time. For me, I feel it actually entering my hand, and then I can kind of feel it and see what it is. And it's I think this is a lovely way to get gifts, and these are spiritual gifts. These are really interesting things. But I've also learned through time that you have to ask some questions. So the first gift I ever got was a little dagger, a little teeny jeweled dagger. And it also had like a little laser tip on it. It was pretty cool, really cool. And I was just like, ooh, that's pretty, like a crow, I'm just, oh, pretty. And then I put it in my spiritual backpack and then never used it. Or I don't think I properly used it yet because I forgot to ask questions. So the important questions are, the first thing you say, thank you. What is this? What does it do? How do I use it? Could you demonstrate? So even if you can just say, how do I use it? And can you demonstrate? At least get those two questions in, okay? Because that sat in my backpack a long time. And then I was reading somebody of Native American heritage. And I didn't know that somehow the dagger was to cut through to truth. But I still didn't know. It had been in there a long time and I was anxious to use it. And so I just suddenly went zip with it. And I cut through what looked like the buckskin of their life. And like, I could see into like their inner workings. And I realized, you have no business being here. This is wrong. And that I was able to use the little laser to sew the buckskin back together and apologize to the universe. So usually I have all these gifts. I wait till they tell me to use them now. One time I was reading I was on a journey with Priscilla and a few other people. And one of the gifts I got was a cube of pink smoke. And I thought, hey, Priscilla's got the pink hair. The pink just reminds me of Priscilla all the time. And I'm like, I wonder what this is. And because I was leading a journey, they said, don't worry, we'll tell you a little later. This one's real easy. Don't worry about it. So I put it in the backpack, kept going. And then some other time I was on a journey and there were a bunch of angels there. And one of the angels asked for the pink cube. It was angel candy. They ate it and they were me more energized or something. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been carrying around angel candy.
Angel crack.
Yeah. But so these gifts are great. And the other thing is for some reason, they're not hard to remember because I don't really have to think about what's in my backpack. When I'm out there doing spiritual readings or something, they let me know, okay, now's the time to take out the pink cube of smoke. They let you know, but it's really important that you get curious, you ask some questions. When you're in the imagination portal, you are not at their mercy. You're not at Spirit's mercy. You're not there just to be pushed around or to see. You are there in your 100% capacity as well. You're there to participate. So it's all right to say things like, what does this do? Or I don't understand. Show me more. Or I hear something, but it's not clear. Could you make it louder? Could I hear that more clearly? You're a participant. You're not subservient out there. You're part of this. It is your birthright to be there and to ask questions.
And they can't tell us things if we don't ask questions. Remember, Spirit, it's very important. We have to ask the question.
That's where the curiosity is really key too. Sometimes the gifts can be a healing, and sometimes they're in disguise, and then sometimes they turn into a healing for us. it's really it's magical, very magical, but it's very real at the same time. It's very useful. It's applicable. It's profound, universal messages, and that this is the secret to the evolution. It's the secret to the fifth density. It's the secret to moving out of the rat race, so to speak, just a lack of a better term. It's the way out is through the imagination portal, because this is where we will be led. We will be shown. We will be in communication with at the same time. It's really one of the answers to moving out of this lower density into the fifth density. Um, yeah.
Terry, I had the chuckle when you were talking about gifts, and I don't know if maybe my guides brought it to me, but if you've ever played a role-playing video game where you're on a journey and you go around and you find this little thing in your path and you don't know what it is, but you put it in your little bag, and then later on something sure enough will come up where you need this bit of food or weapon or gold, and it's all part of the journey. And it just kind of reminds me how that wonderful playful spirit that we need to have. I think that a lot of things come to us and are in our culture to help us understand that. I mean, I'm really big into fantasy movies and all kinds of things like that. And Star Wars, there's messages in these movies that come through these creative people's minds. They make the message, and then it's like a little message. If we pick up on it, we can use that in our everyday life. I mean, the Force is the perfect example of that. So I just had
I'm
to
with you there, Terry. I love Star Trek and Star Wars, any of that. Peace in the universe, flying or I love that.
Yeah. Wow. And when you said that, it reminded me of one of my first journeys into what I call dirty world, because it was physically dirty. If somebody really needed to get a vacuum and a sweeper out. And as I was going through this maze that they had me in, I was acclimating to dirty world and realized I don't have any money. I don't have anything. And I found like a little coin in the dust, and I picked it up and put it in my pocket. And then I found like a little gem or a jewel or somebody had lost. I put it in my pocket, and I realized after a while, I'm like, hey, Terry, you're stealing. You're or you're playing a video game here now, picking these things up. But it was to teach me something about myself, and I did indeed need those, because I had to, that's something I didn't talk about the gifts, is this. Most of the time you can just ask for a gift, but there are going to be times that you find yourself in different environments where that you're going to need to give them a gift first.
Right.
And
okay.
So it I guess once in a while you got to pick up the little coin you find in the dirt once in a while, so you can give it to somebody else. So in the imagination portal. So
yeah.
I love it in the comments. Rossi says Star Wars is the fool's journey. Absolutely, Rossi. Right on.
Yeah. I kind of like what Joshua is saying here too.
Oh yeah.
I think we just.
I'll let you drive.
Sorry. It gets hard there. So it is above as so below. You are a 5D being inside of a 3D shell. So therefore, God made it possible to feel in our ethereal spirit something physical. Therefore, we reflect God's vision. Absolutely.
Well said.
Man.
Well said. That's
Beautiful. Thank you, Joshua.
Yeah. Well, if anyone has a question, I'll talk about it. But I think, ladies, I am really at the end of my presentation here.
Ah. Well,
Thank you
bravo.
very much, Terry.
Yeah,
Bravo.
very
It
well
was
done.
beautiful. And I
Yeah,
love the fact
excellent.
that we had so much time to chat.
Mhm.
That was
Mhm.
great. Thank you
So
so
many
much.
great comments. I've been sitting here just reading the comments and the chat, and everybody's really expressing all kinds of ways what to reflect what we were talking about in their own lives. It was great.
Really
Yeah.
was. Thanks,
Yeah.
chat. We always appreciate your inclusion.
Yeah.
Your comments are fabulous. Okay, let me get rid of this banner. Okay, who's next? Who's up
I don't
next?
know. Oh,
Terry Lee.
it's Terry Lee.
It's me.
All right, Terry Lee, and what are
This,
you?
this is going to be interesting because when we first discussed these shows, I said reincarnation for this show, this second
Mhm.
show that I was going to do. And then part of me kind of went, I don't know. I want something a little more out there. I don't know. The guides are like, nope. We're going to show you some stuff you haven't thought about yet. You think you know
Ooh,
about reincarnation? We got something to show you. And then all of a sudden,
ooh,
I find a hypnotherapist professionally licensed for past life regression, which I've been looking for close to me so I didn't have to travel too far. And I found one, and she's
so
great.
good.
And I'm going to be with her in an appointment, and she's going to do the past life regression with me before this next show. So, when I'm out there, I'm sure I'm going to learn some things and have
Sounds
some
like
things
your
to
guides are
share.
going to tell you some new
Oh,
things.
yeah.
Woo-hoo.
I really started to get excited about it, so now I can't wait.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's
That
fun.
is
Sounds very
exciting.
exciting.
Mhm.
Anybody have a show coming up in the next couple of days or tonight?
I'll be on with astrology tarot or astrological tarot, Michelle and Tanis on Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. And then Terry Suzuki, and I will be on Kigaru's channel on Friday at 4:30
Fantastic.
Eastern. Mhm.
What about
And
you, Miss Joan?
I'll be on with Juno of the Juno Sphere on
Yeah.
Wednesday at 4:30 Central,
Nice.
and on Allie's channel on Thursday. And I think Jean and Terry Suzuki and I are reading on this coming Monday too.
Fantastic. You guys go check out their channels. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to these ladies' channels. And we have a show tomorrow that is on karmic healing, and that's 3 o'clock Eastern on the Crone Zone. And then next Saturday, we have Jay Marcus from Majestic Oracle. She'll be on Saturday at 3 Eastern with us to, well, we'll just see what happens. I don't know.
A little chat.
Wow.
We'll have a little
Yeah.
chat and have maybe some readings. We'll just have to see, but it'll be fun. If you haven't met Jay, she's a delight, and you'll really enjoy. She's very talented. And as these ladies, everything comes from the heart, and I think you'll enjoy her. So please join us. She's kind of new on the chat. She has a new channel. Anyway, ladies, thank you so much. Chat, thank you so much for being here. It worked again. I can't. You guys are brilliant. I love this. That
The
we're doing
timing. It's impeccable.
it. It really is.
Yes.
Anyway, thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for being here.
Namaste.
everybody.
Thank you.